In countless cultures around the world, ghosts are frequently invoked to describe the tormented souls of the deceased, while demons carry a far more sinister and expansive connotation. They might manifest as malevolent entities from the shadowy metaphysical realm, or even as a terrifying force, directly opposing divine beings. For all of you, this remains a chilling void in scientific understanding, where relentless research has failed to either confirm or utterly debunk these horrifying supernatural occurrences, and countless individuals across the globe that they have confronted ghosts, demons, and unholy deities face to face. Among the brave few who dared venture into this nightmarish abyss, one couple has ascended to legendary status: the captivating duo Edward Warren and Laura N. Warren, who became the central figures in the bone-chilling Conjuring franchise, along with the Haunted series. The origins of both were rooted in their roles as paranormal investigators, individuals who genuinely devoted their entire existence to battling an array of nightmarish supernatural entities, ranging from innocuous wandering spirits all the way to infernal demons straight from the depths of hell. Yet uncertainty lingers about whether that information holds any truth, or if it was grotesquely inflated purely for a manipulative marketing scheme. However, in this video, I will dive with you all into the 10 most infamous supernatural cases that define the career of this husband and wife, Ed and Laura N. These are tales that the media proclaims to be horrifically real, meticulously documented in official by eyewitness accounts that chill the blood, and later featured in those infamous horror blockbusters. Let's kick off with the Annabelle doll incident, since I believe this is the most notorious of all. You all have likely heard whispers of it already. The Annabelle doll case stands as one of the most infamous and investigations ever conducted by this couple. It also served as the terrifying inspiration for the Annabelle series within the Conjuring universe. Of The Conjuring. The Conjuring. The nightmare unfolded in 1970 when two young women named Donna and Angie shared a cramped apartment in Connecticut. On one fateful occasion, Donna received a massive Raggedy Ann doll from her mother as a birthday present. Unlike the film version, this real-life doll was crafted from soft cloth, not fragile porcelain. Its appearance was utterly creepy, disturbing the grimy, grotesque style depicted on screen. I remained deeply skeptical of the mother's taste in gifts when she chose to purchase such a horrifying doll for her own daughter. Mere days after bringing the doll into their home, both Donna and Angie started witnessing inexplicable horrors unfolding relentlessly in their space. For instance, the doll would shift positions on its own, relocating to entirely different rooms, or altering its limb postures despite the apartment being securely locked. At times, they discovered scraps of paper scrawled with brief, desperate messages like "US" or "Help Lou" in childish scrawl, even though no such paper existed anywhere in their home. Back then, Toy Story had not yet been released, so these two women, instead of viewing it optimistically, grew increasingly terrified. After repeated instances of those eerie phenomena recurring without end, they summoned a medium to examine the situation. This medium, after performing arcane rituals, proclaimed that the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had perished near the land they now occupied, had possessed the Raggedy Ann doll and trailed them to this place. The medium further insisted that Annabelle merely craved affection, harboring no malicious intent. The tale seemed somewhat heart-wrenching, so Donna consented to allow the spirit to remain. Nevertheless, from that moment onward, the disturbances escalated into pure chaos. The peak of terror arrived when Donna's boyfriend Lou began visiting their home. He endured multiple nightmares of the doll viciously assaulting him, and on one dreadful occasion, he was genuinely clawed across the chest by an unseen malevolent entity. Thus, Donna was compelled to reach out to the couple, Ed and Laura N. Warren, to probe the escalating horrors. Following their investigation, Mrs. Lauren emphatically declared that no innocent child soul inhabited the doll. Instead, a demonic being was masquerading with the intent to manipulate and possess the living. The Warrens subsequently joined forces with a local priest to conduct a harrowing exorcism ceremony, then transported the doll to their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut for safekeeping. The doll was encased in a glass cabinet adorned with protective seals and various wards bearing a sign that warned, "Positively do not open." From that point, Annabelle emerged as the most notorious exhibit in the Warrens' macabre collection. Despite the exorcism, inexplicably numerous bizarre phenomena continued to plague those around this cursed doll. For example, individuals who mocked it or dared to touch it invariably suffered gruesome accidents, or the doll appeared to exhibit unnatural expressions when gazed upon. In essence, the rumors surrounding the Annabelle doll multiplied. Nevertheless, skepticism abounds, with many suspecting this is merely sensationalized media fabrication, since the bulk of the information circulating about this doll originates from the Warrens' retellings. Without independent verification, nonetheless, Annabelle endures as a timeless symbol in popular culture, representing the epitome of haunted dolls. I believe its infamy is rivaled only by the Robert doll. For greater clarity, you can revisit the video on cursed objects that I produced earlier. Furthermore, Annabelle serves as the iconic face of the most lucrative horror film series in history, The Conjuring. Oh, and it bears mentioning that back in 2020, wild rumors spread that Annabelle had escaped from the museum. Oh God. But in truth, this stemmed purely from a translation mishap. As to this day, the doll remains locked away, or perhaps it was another clever marketing ploy. The demonic possession at the and also the primary source of inspiration for The Conjuring. In 2013, the terror unfolded at an ancient farm The parent family consisting of the husband, wife, and their 5 daughters relocated there in January 1971. The main structure of the Harrisville estate was erected in 1736, boasting over 10 bedrooms, coupled with a serene living environment. Yet the price for the entire sprawling farm was suspiciously low. But nothing could compare to the deal. This year Samsung's theme is a blazing hot sale. Everyone take note that it's exclusively from November 28th to December 1st. Applicable to customers shopping at over 150 stores nationwide and online via the website. Flash sales with jaw-dropping prices guaranteed the best on the market. To time slots 9 to 11 a.m. and 3 to 5 p.m. Everything slashed up to 50%. And exclusively on November 28th, select stores will feature a lucky spin wheel with 100% guaranteed prizes. You can easily check participating stores on the website. I'll link it in the description and comments below. Returning to the story, one peculiar detail emerged in December 1970. During the property handover, they received bizarre advice from the former owner of the estate. For the family's safety, you must always keep the lights on during the night. Though no explanation followed this ominous warning. For the Perrins, this seemed like an ideal haven for long-term settlement. So they proceeded with the move regardless, and that cryptic caution proved no mere jest. As from the very first days in residence, family members began sensing profoundly unsettling anomalies. Small household items vanished inexplicably, only to reappear in bizarre locations. Eerie sounds reverberated through the darkness of night. Doors swung open on their own accord. Putrid odors of unknown origin permeated the entire house. Initially, these disturbances were merely irritating, still tolerable, but as time passed, they morphed into sheer terror. Knocking echoes and a child's heart-wrenching songs intensified with alarming frequency. One fateful night, the Perrin family claimed to hear a disembodied voice whispering about decayed remains of 7 soldiers in Carolyn Perrin reported being shoved, her hair yanked, and even savagely assaulted by invisible hands that left her bruised and terrified. Yet this family displayed remarkable resilience. If it were me, I would have fled on the first night. After enduring this nightmare for an extended period, the Perrin family, particularly Mrs. Carolyn, desperately sought out Ed and Laura, the renowned paranormal experts of the era. Upon receiving the plea, the couple arrived without delay. At the site, Lauren employed her clairvoyant gifts to probe the malevolent energies plaguing the home. Subsequently, she asserted that she detected the presence of numerous spirits, both benevolent and utterly evil, but among them lurked one entity of unparalleled malice and power, known as Bathsheba Sherman. According to local folklore, Bathsheba was a woman who inhabited this land accused in the 19th century and sacrificing infants to demonic forces by piercing needles into their necks. Upon discovery of her atrocities, Bathsheba faced execution by the villagers. Per other accounts, Bathsheba took her own life. In any case, Mrs. Loren was convinced that this vengeful spirit had cursed the property, dooming all inhabitants to unimaginable suffering. The Warrens then collaborated with local clergy in an attempt to perform a desperate exorcism. According to the family's harrowing testimony, this ritual only amplified the horrors. During the ceremony, Carolyn abruptly collapsed. Furniture trembled violently without cease, and everyone present struggled desperately to avoid severe injury. Ultimately, the Warrens departed in defeat, leaving the Perrin family to coexist with the malevolence. They endured in the house until 1980, before finally escaping. This incident persists to this day as one of the most infamous hauntings, and the old Arnold estate has transformed into America's premier ghost hunting destination. A brief digression. From my research, the tales of Mrs. Bathsheba Sherman as a witch and her suicide lack any foundation. In reality, she passed away on May 25, 1885 at age 72 from a stroke. Her existence was marked by tragedy, with 3 of her 4 children dying young, fueling vicious rumors against her. So upon reflection, it is entirely plausible that the Warrens' efforts failed because their target from the outset was not Bathsheba Sherman's spirit. Moreover, this case spawned unfortunate repercussions, such as the desecration of Bathsheba Sherman's grave in the local cemetery by fanatical individuals. It sounds profoundly tragic. The Amityville Horror. This ranks as one of the most notorious and contentious cases in the Warrens' storied career, simultaneously laying the groundwork for a plethora of books and iconic horror films. The dread commenced at house number 112 in the village of Amityville, Long Island, New York, home to the DeFeo family. On the fateful night of November 13th, unspeakable atrocity transpired here. The eldest son, Ronald DeFeo Jr., wielded a firearm to slaughter his entire family of 6 and 4 siblings as they slumbered. After committing this bloodbath, he brazenly approached the police station to file a report pinning the blame on a local mobster. Throughout the interrogation, authorities uncovered inconsistencies in Ronald's narrative, swiftly concluding that he was the perpetrator behind the massacre. Ronald eventually confessed to his heinous deeds. However, he appended that he acted under duress from voices echoing in his mind, compelling him to perpetrate these atrocities. In that era, video games lacked the prevalence they hold today. Thus, Ronald was sentenced by authorities to life imprisonment, totaling 150 years. Following this catastrophe, the property was sold at a suspiciously discounted price to the Lutz family. George and Kathy, along with their 3 young children. They settled in during December 1975, but endured only 28 agonizing days before fleeing in absolute panic. Per the Lutz's petrifying testimony, a cascade of nightmarish events assailed them from the moment they arrived, such as rancid stenches infiltrating every corner, windows and doors slamming with violent force unaided, locks inexplicably shattering, then viscous green slime seeping from the walls, cacophonies resounding at midnight, and the silhouette of a demonic swan with blazing red eyes peering through the glass. George recounted awakening repeatedly at 3:15 a.m., the precise hour of the previous murders. These incessant awakenings gradually eroded his sanity, rendering him aggressively irrational and estranged as the tale gained viral traction. In the press, Ed and Lorraine Warren, as per routine, were summoned to investigate with prior cases. 1976 harnessed her psychic faculties to proclaim that she perceived an overwhelming darkness of immense potency saturating every inch of the dwelling, with grave solemnity that, unlike typical malevolent ghosts, this constituted a genuine case of demonic infestation. They orchestrated a session of prayer and banishment, during which they captured a photograph via infrared camera, purportedly depicting the ethereal form of a ghostly whom the psychic duo surmised was the spirit of one of DeFeo's tragic victims. Yet debates raged fiercely regarding this Amityville saga. Critics contend the Lutz family concocted and amplified the events for commercial exploitation. Evidence points to their immediate contracts for books and film rights concerning this infamous Amityville residence with various entities. The supernatural disturbances in Enfield. This stands as one of England's most legendary poltergeist incidents. Unfolding at 284 Green Street, London between 1977 it is also and 1979 as a true event, serving as the basis for The Conjuring 2. Though the couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, participated only briefly, yet this haunting remains inextricably linked to their legacy. The ordeal commenced on August 30th, 1977, when single mother Peggy frantically contacted authorities reporting that, lately in her residence, abrupt and terrifying anomalies had materialized. Her daughters Janet, aged 11, and Margaret, aged 13, claimed to have witnessed objects levitating autonomously or contorting in unnatural ways, pounding resonances echoing throughout the structure, quaking with ferocious intensity. Janet appeared to be the primary victim of these infernal forces, as the majority of bizarre incidents centered around this young girl. Upon police arrival for inspection, they beheld a chair gliding across the floor untouched by human hands. This revelation rapidly disseminated, drawing scrutiny from journalists and paranormal scholars. Researchers from England's Society for Psychical Research, Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair, resided with the family for months, documenting the terrors, during which they captured over 2,000 anomalous noises, levitating furniture, objects hurling through the air, and Janet being flung from her bed by invisible forces. The most chilling aspect was the voice emanating from Janet, a deep gravelly tone, claiming to be Bill Wilkins, a former resident who had died in the house from a brain hemorrhage. This voice spewed profanity and detailed knowledge of past events that Janet could not possibly know. Amid this escalating nightmare, in 1978 the Warrens journeyed from America to assist. Upon arrival, they too witnessed the poltergeist's fury. Lorraine sensed demonic involvement, manipulating the restless spirits to torment the family. They conducted prayers and rituals to alleviate the hauntings, but the disturbances persisted intermittently, until fading by 1979. This Enfield poltergeist case sparked endless controversy, with skeptics accusing Janet and Margaret of fabricating the events for attention, pointing to instances where the girls were caught faking phenomena. Yet believers counter that, while some elements might have been exaggerated, occurrences defied explanation witnessed by multiple independent parties, including police and investigators. To this day, the Enfield case remains one of the most documented and debated paranormal events in history, continuing to inspire books, documentaries, and films, like The Conjuring 2. The Smurl family haunting unfolded in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. From 1974 to 1989, this case gained notoriety as one of the Warrens' most intense investigations, and later became the basis for the 1991 film The Haunted. The Smurl family, including Jack and Janet, and their 4 children, moved into a duplex on Chase Street, sharing it with Jack's parents. Shortly after, they began experiencing a barrage of terrifying phenomena that escalated over the years. Initially minor annoyances like strange noises and objects vanishing soon morphed into outright horrors, including foul odors, physical assaults, and apparitions of shadowy figures. The family reported black masses forming on walls, cold spots that chilled to the bone, and even levitating family members. Janet claimed to have been sexually assaulted by an invisible entity while the family dog was thrown against walls. The disturbances grew so severe that the Smurls sought help from the Catholic Church, but initial attempts at blessings failed to quell the activity. In 1986, the Warrens were called in. Warren sensed multiple entities, including a powerful demon. They conducted investigations and exorcisms over several months, documenting the events with audio and video. The case attracted massive media attention, turning the Smurls' home into a spectacle. Skeptics dismissed it as a hoax, but the family insisted on its authenticity. After multiple failed exorcisms, the Smurls moved out in 1987, though they claimed the entity followed them briefly. The haunting eventually ceased. The story was chronicled in the book The Haunted, co-authored by the Warrens and the Smurls. The book also mentions not only the Smurl residents, but even neighbors and visiting friends reported hearing unearthly sounds, door knocks, or feeling an inexplicable freezing chill. After years of suffering, in 1986, Jack Smurl contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren, desperately seeking aid, meaning over 12 years elapsed before summoning experts. Their endurance was astonishing. On site as customary, Lorraine deployed her psychic senses to survey and proclaimed detecting the presence of numerous dark and vicious supernatural beings shrouding the entire property. Perhaps I should compile another video, cataloging all of Lorraine's declarations throughout her life. Ed likewise observed peculiar indicators, and the pair, Warrens, deduced that this energy directly tormented the family, particularly Janet. Upon deeper scrutiny, both asserted that within the house dwelled 4 entities, encompassing a benign elderly woman, a volatile young girl, a tormented man who perished there, and ultimately a demon that thrived on terror, exploiting the 3 spirits to plunge the Smurl family into perpetual dread. For those agonizing years, this incident captivated media outlets. Journalists flocked to the home for footage and interviews, disseminating accounts of the bizarre torments afflicting the Smurl family. Certain witnesses subsequently verified observing inky shadows darting by or detecting pounding and footsteps when the house stood empty. Throughout this ordeal, observers persistently documented incidents that recurred and defied rational explanation. These ordeals manifested not solely at night, but occasionally even during waking hours, instilling a constant sensation of being stalked. According to Edward, this demon possessed formidable power, rendering it exceedingly difficult to confront. They executed numerous exorcism rites. Yet not only did they fail to banish the demon, but it retaliated viciously. Once during a prayer invocation, Ed received a menacing warning from the demon uttering, "Get out," compelling him to flee for his life. Beyond the Warrens' exorcisms, local priests were dispatched to combat the entity, but to no avail. Some among them reported sensing nothing amiss, while others were left utterly bewildered when the rituals proved futile. By late 1987, following a barrage of exorcisms, the Smurl family confirmed the anomalous events had largely subsided. However, they felt utterly exhausted from media scrutiny and accusations of fabricating for notoriety. Thus, in late 1988, the Smurls resolved to relocate to Wilkes-Barre to forge a fresh start. The Chase Street property, under new ownership, ceased to exhibit strange phenomena. I commend this case for the homeowner's tenacity, surpassing even the Warrens. The Southend Werewolf Incident. This bizarre episode transpired in England, documented as one of the oddest cases the Warrens ever tackled. Though less publicized than their other supernatural pros, this affair diverged from typical haunted abodes or possessed artifacts, involving instead an individual gripped by otherworldly influence, manifesting in a mythical beast-like form, tormenting the afflicted. The protagonist was Bill Ramsey. The saga originated long ago, On a seemingly ordinary Saturday afternoon in 1961, 1-year-old Bill abruptly felt an overwhelming possession overtake him, rendering his body uncontrollable. His mind flooded solely with visions of ravenous wolves. In a trance, he uprooted a fence post that even grown men struggled to budge, before collapsing into oblivion. Following that initial seizure, Bill sporadically suffered unnatural convulsions and bouts of savage aggression and loss of control. Relatives and neighbors observed he occasionally behaved as if puppeteered by an external malevolence, exhibiting strength far exceeding human norms. As Bill matured, this anomalous power not only persisted but intensified. The frenzied outbursts occurred not just while awake, culminating in January 1984, when Bill erupted on the streets, assaulting police officers like a feral beast. This rampage drew media spotlight onto this tormented man. Eyewitnesses to Bill's manic episodes shared their harrowing encounters with reporters, propelling the story through England's paranormal circles. Bill's kin then summoned the couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, inviting them to England for scrutiny, deviating from standard hauntings. Lorraine yet again proclaimed that Bill was besieged by a supernatural entity. Accordingly, this force had corrupted Bill's psyche and physique, compelling uncontrollable actions, such as guttural snarls or berserk assaults on others. Occasionally, this domination granted him superhuman might, enabling feats like hoisting immense weights into the family's lineage capacity and Bill's surroundings, noting that numerous inexplicable incidents had plagued this family for generations. The unifying theme revolved around Lupin imagery. The Warrens advised Bill's relatives to engage in prayer ceremonies and spiritual safeguards to curb this entity's dominance. Concurrently, if feasible, travel to Connecticut for an exorcism administered by their specialist, Bishop Robert McKenna. Thus, in 1989, journeyed to Connecticut. The eve before the ritual, Bill suffered a violent seizure, attempting to strangle his wife in her sleep. Fortunately, she awoke just in time. Thereafter, the exorcism proceeded, expelling the werewolf essence from Bill Ramsey's form. Subsequently, he resumed normalcy, free from further outbursts. This episode underscores the Warrens' versatility in combating varied supernatural threats, extending beyond haunted dwellings or demons to encompass mythical beasts and beyond. Indeed, that is how the media extols them. Yet, I find this narrative somewhat exaggerated, resembling individuals with psychological afflictions, sensationalized into werewolves by the press, with the exorcism perhaps functioning as therapy. The Arne Cheyenne Johnson case, infamously dubbed "The Devil Made Me Do It," or the demonic homicide, transpired in 1981 in Connecticut, USA, marking one of the scarce legal proceedings invoking demonic possession, and the Warrens' most prominent inquiry, tied directly to murder. The focal figure was Arne Cheyenne Johnson, a 19-year-old residing with his girlfriend's family prior in 1980. A member of her household, young David Glatzel, aged 11, was alleged to be demonically possessed. Per accounts, after relocating, David commenced enduring incessant nightmares and emitting bizarre guttural growls. Occasionally, the child would recount to his parents visions of a man uttering Latin, materializing before him and expelling the family from their home. As paranormal manifestations intensified within the Glatzel residence, the parents solicited the Warrens to orchestrate exorcism rites. 3 sessions transpired in total, overseen by local clergy. During these, Arne Johnson assisted in restraining David's limbs. Per the Glatzel and Warrens' narratives, on one occasion, Arne implored the demon to release David and inhabit him instead, prompting the entity to select him as its subsequent host. Post this occurrence, Arne exhibited uncontrollable behaviors, such as veering erratically while driving, or trance-like wandering from the well. To February 16, 1981, a ferocious altercation erupted between Arne and his landlord, culminating in him fatally stabbing the adversary. Amid the dispute, upon prosecution, Arne and his counsel endeavored to invoke an extraordinary defense, one I am certain few would dare emulate, asserting he acted under demonic compulsion, thus absolving him of culpability for the homicide. Analogously, this mirrors my outbursts when I rage and seize your vehicle. This marked the inaugural instance in U.S. annals where demonic possession was proffered as a criminal defense component. Owing to their exorcism involvement, Ed and Lorraine Warren were summoned as witnesses. Lorraine affirmed that Arne was genuinely corrupted by dark forces at the Crimes Commission, while Ed elucidated that this entity directly orchestrated Arne's actions, and the Glatzel family corroborated identically. Nevertheless, the judiciary rejected this demonic plea, since science repudiates such notions. Ultimately, Arne Johnson was convicted of manslaughter. The trial subsequently ignited massive controversy, persisting to the present, garnering attention from legal spheres and supernatural research communities alike. Many contend this evidence is authentic spiritual phenomena, whereas science and jurisprudence deem it a perilous fallacy, potentially setting dangerous precedents for future cases. The White Lady apparition at Union Cemetery. Diverging from prior incidents, this episode involved no exorcisms whatsoever. The events transpired at Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut, USA, a locale infamous for harboring restless spirits. In 2011, Mrs. Loren even declared to the press that "I am certain this site is haunted," and ranks among the most infested locations. Well, a cemetery devoid of ghosts would be absurd. And she elaborated that residing here was a spirit of a youthful woman, clad in a white gown from head to toe. Due to her ethereal appearance, observers christened this specter the White Lady. Translating to the Pale Dame, the White Lady is portrayed with long ebony tresses, donning attire resembling a night dress and white hood, frequently sighted along the roadway in the cemetery. Numerous theories surround the White Lady's origins. Some claim she is the wraith of a woman who perished post-childbirth. Others assert she is a widow's ghost. Others insist she is the specter of a malevolent matron who murdered her spouse. Some opinions vary wildly, lacking any definitive profile for this enigmatic phantom. In 1990, the Warrens visited repeatedly to photograph and film the graveyard, hoping to capture the entity. Per their testimony at 2:40 a.m. on September 1, 1990, precisely the 7th night of filming, he encountered the White Lady. She appeared as a woman approximately 30 years old, with raven hair, clad in a nightgown, her form ghostly pale, encircled by innumerable shadowy souls, seemingly intent on ripping her asunder. Later, he immortalized this encounter in his book. From my inquiries, it appears this apparition was adapted into a supporting role in the film Annabelle Comes Home from 2019. Those who have viewed it can enlighten me. The Donovan family possession case. In 1974 at West Hartford, Connecticut, USA, the Donovan household commenced enduring a multitude of spine-tingling phenomena spanning 2 months. The terror initiated when daughter Patty Donovan discovered an Ouija board. Inherently introverted, possessing the Ouija board, she engaged with it solitarily. Patty subsequently communed with a spirit she believed to be a youthful, handsome, and isolated male. This entity proved quite the charmer, seducing Patty into utter infatuation after brief interactions. For an entire year, nightly Patty transformed into a night owl, conversing with her invisible paramour via the board. Unaware she was repeatedly activating life's self-destruct mechanism. When Patty demanded the spirit materialize, the cascade of nightmares officially commenced. From that day, innumerable bizarre anomalies erupted. The family's vehicle had its engine disassembled, belts severed, tires slashed, front yard bushes wrenched from the soil, plumbing pipes twisted by unseen hands, sink water intermittently turning crimson like blood, and furnishings sporadically soaring then crashing chaotically. Nights brought incessant wall pounding, interspersed with infants' wails, morphing into feline shrieks. Realizing this spectral suitor harbored no sweetness, Patty confessed everything to her parents. And routinely the Warrens were invited to intervene. As ever, Loren proclaimed an evil presence skulking within the abode. Patty recounted her Ouija exploits, communing with phantoms. At this juncture, clarity dawned. Quite possibly no mere ghost existed, but a demon had infiltrated the home. Now they confronted a demon of immense potency and deviousness. Ed and Loren coordinated a local priest to execute an exorcism. Preceding the rite, the entire Donovan clan beheld an elderly crone manifest in luminescence, enticing them to follow for salvation. But Loren swiftly discerned it as demonic lure, halting them promptly. During the exorcism, the demon unveiled its authentic form and was banished. Post-exorcism, all anomalies ceased and the Donovan family continues residing there to this day. Damn, they possess true courage. This case offers little novelty, resembling Part 2, Parts 3 and 4 of prior exorcisms, with familiar tropes. And that concludes the Real Demonic Hauntings Part 1, essentially featuring cases involving Ed and Loren Warren. Part 2 may explore even stranger incidents. You can comment suggestions for additional reference materials. Quite enjoyable. Remember to subscribe to miss no videos. Farewell, and until next time. The White Lady Ghost at Union Cemetery. Unlike the previous cases, this incident had no connection to exorcisms. This event took place at Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut, in America. This is a location rumored to be inhabited by many wandering spirits. In 2011, Mrs. Loren even told the press that "I am sure this place is haunted." And it is one of the places that is haunted the most. Well, a cemetery without ghosts, how? And this lady added that here there is a spirit. A young woman, wearing a white dress from foot to head. And because of the appearance, like that, people named the soul. This ghost is White Lady, meaning white lady. White Lady is described as having long dark hair, wearing something that looks like a nightgown and a white hood. White, often seen on the road along the National Highway, outside the cemetery. There are many hypotheses about the identity of White Lady. People say that it is the ghost of a woman who died after giving birth. Some say it is the ghost of a widow. Some say it is the ghost of a wicked woman who killed her husband. In short, 9 people, 10 opinions. There is no accurate profile for this ghost at all. In 1990, the Warren couple came many times to take photos and film at the cemetery to be able to catch this ghost. And according to their story at 2:40 a.m. 1/9/1990, exactly the 7th night performing filming at the cemetery, he encountered White Lady. That was a woman around 30 years old. Black hair and wearing a nightgown, the whole body was white. Around were countless black souls, seeming to be trying to claw and tear this woman. And later he recorded this story in his book. With what I found out, it seems like this ghost to become a character. Side is the bride ghost in the movie. Annabelle comes home year to 019. Brothers who watched can tell the method. The Donovan House haunting case. Year 1974 at West Hartford, Connecticut in America, the Donovan family began to experience many chilling phenomena in 2 months. Everything started when the girl Patty Donovan found an Ouija board. Originally an introverted player, so having the Ouija board, this girl just sat playing alone. Patty after that connected with a spirit that she believed was a young guy, handsome and lonely. This spirit also seemed to be a player. When flirting for a while, this party sister fell completely. For a whole year, every night party also made night owl chat shit with the invisible boyfriend through the Ouija board, without knowing that is continuously pressing the self-destruct button. Life. When Patty requested that spirit to appear, then the chain nightmare officially began. From here, since that day, countless strange phenomena began to occur. The whole family's car was dismantled, engine this belt was cut, this tire was punctured. Bushes in front of the house were pulled up from the ground. Water pipes were bent like invisible force. Water in the face wash basin sometimes turned red like blood. And stuff, again, occasionally flew up then fell scattered everywhere. At night, there was continuous wall banging sound. And occasionally, there were children crying, then turned into cat meowing. Realizing this boyfriend candy seems not fragrant anymore, so Patty had to recount everything to parents. And as usual, the Warren couple, those people were invited to help. And as always, Lauren again declared there is an evil force lurking in the house, etc. Patty recounted the story of using Ouija board to talk to ghosts. And here everything became clear already. Very likely, there is no ghost at all, but it is a demon that has invaded the house. And now they have to face a demon extremely powerful and cunning. Ed and Lauren arranged a local priest to perform an exorcism session. Before the exorcism day, the whole Donovan house saw an old lady appear in the beam of light, luring them to follow to be saved. But Lauren immediately realized that is demon bait, so timely prevented. In the exorcism ceremony, the demon revealed its true form and was expelled. And after the exorcism finished, all phenomena ended, and the Donovan family still lives at that house until today. Your mom is brave though. This case also has nothing to say much. It is like part 2. Part 3/4 of those previous exorcism cases, with familiar motif only. And that is those real ghost demon haunting cases part 1. With basically all are those cases with the presence of Ed and Lauren Warren. This part 2 may be those cases a stranger. You can comment, suggest so we have more reference materials. Very fun. Don't forget to register to not miss any video. Hello, and see you again. A member of his girlfriend's house is the boy David Claggett. 11 years old, was given, is possessed by demon. According to that, then after moving to new house, David began to have those recurring nightmares, and often emitted that strange growling sound. And sometimes the boy will tell parents about a man speaking Latin, appearing in front of him and chasing the whole family out of the house. When those supernatural phenomena appear in classroom house with frequency increasing day by day, then Mr. and Mrs. Classroom contacted the Warren couple to ask them to perform the exorcism ritual. There are a total of 3 exorcism sessions conducted under the supervision of local priests. In these ceremonies, then Annie Johnson participated in helping to hold David's limbs. And according to the retelling of the Clark family and Warren, then there was one time Annie begged the demon to spare David and possess him instead, leading to the demon choosing him as the victim. Next, after this event, then Annie Johnson Appeared those signs of loss of control, like losing steering or unconscious, going from the well where the demon resides. To 16 halves year 1981, then a fierce argument occurred between Ani with his landlord, leading to him stabbing to death the opponent during the quarrel.